Hey all, Nick Berlin with Berlin Builds. It's late, it's Saturday night, actually about midnight on Saturday night, finally getting to this. I picked up my second miter saw for my finished carpentry business. Right now it's me working on a job, and I have 2 employees, and there's a bottleneck on the miter saw. And I was thinking about it, I have a job coming up that's a lot of baseboards that are rounded corners and inside corners. It's just gonna be a lot of time on the miter saw. And I think if I only have the one saw, I'll spend an additional 2 days or an additional 1.5 days, roughly, on labor. And so what I'm paying in labor, I figured it would be about the same or cheaper for me to buy this saw, as opposed to just standing there and waiting. So not only did this saw save me money on that one specific job I mentioned earlier that's coming up in the future, or I should say will save me money, but by shaving off 1.5 days or 2 days off of a job, it makes it so that I can go work on another job for that 1.5 days, those 2 days, and make more money there. So in my head, it just made sense to buy the secondary miter saw because of the amount of time that was being spent just waiting for someone to finish a cut. Because sometimes when someone's right in the middle of a complicated cut, you can't just come in and kick them off the saw. And also, it's just kind of frustrating when you're in the middle of trying to cut something and someone says, hey, I need to use the saw real quick. It just doesn't work. So having 3 guys using the saws, it just made sense to have the secondary saw. So this saw will be my second DWS 779. I love the first one so much, I figured I might as well buy the same saw for my secondary one. Also, for me, I just kind of get into a groove with things. I just know where things are. So if I was to change that up and get a different saw, if I'm gonna switch from one saw to the other, I know that will hurt my brain. So in my brain, it made more sense to just use the same saw. What I'm doing right now, just in case you're curious, is changing out the blade. The one that has come with it is a 32 tooth blade, which is a great blade if you're doing, rough framing or things that don't have to have a super fine finish. Since I'm a finished carpenter, I need things that have a really fine finish. So I go with the Diablo 100 tooth blade, and I just switched it out right from the very get-go. They're just clean, they cut really good, and they're about 75 bucks new. If you want to get the same blade, I'll put a link in the description below. But for me, it's not even worth keeping the stock blade on. I just flip out to the really good blade. These 779 miter saws, I should say, well, the one I have had has been amazing. I've had it for 3 months now. Actually, I've had it for 6 months, but I've been using it on my jobs for 3 months because I started my business 3 months ago, and it's been awesome. It's pretty much the exact same thing as the 780, which is more expensive, except it doesn't have the little shadow line light, which some people love. Some people are huge fans of that. I'm just not interested in having that. That doesn't seem like something that is gonna really help me that much, to the point where I wanna have it. I already know where the teeth cut on my material, so I don't feel like I need a light tell me where it is. All right, let's fire it up for the first time. Oh boy, that feels good. Has a lot of power. I like that it jumps when I first turn it on. That also means that there's enough power in this garage. It has enough amperage. You can always tell when you roll up on a job site that's underpowered because the saw will just go brrr. It kind of starts up really slow, and it hurts your soul. I'm really curious what has worked for you guys in your businesses to make things more productive. How have you made more money? If you own a finished carpentry business or construction business, I'm really open to learn from you guys. I've only been doing this full time on my own for 3 months, and there's a lot to learn. I've learned so much in the last 3 months. It's been a wild ride, and it's been a ton of fun. So much fun, honestly. I'm really loving what I'm doing. The secondary saw, I think is gonna be a good move. I'm actually looking at getting a best fence on one of my saws where it has the fixed tape measure. I think that's gonna reduce a lot of my measuring time. I think I'm only gonna put that on one saw to start, but what other tips and advice you guys might have, feel free to throw it in the comments below. I'd like to start a good discussion down there, mostly for selfish reasons so that I can learn from you guys, and also when there's more comments on my videos, YouTube is more likely to promote them, which means that more people watch them, which means that our channel grows and eventually I become a millionaire off of YouTube, which is just everyone's dream right now. So there you go. If you're curious to know, I just tested this thing and right out of the box, this thing was perfectly square and it was perfectly plumb. Awesome, especially because it's late at night and I didn't want to spend a bunch of time recalibrating this thing. So perfect out of the box, no complaints. Business sure has been good this last little bit though. I've been really surprised at the amount of work that people want me to do and the demand. I actually have a guy that's told me he'd be willing to pay me a few $100 extra if I could slip him in this next week. And he's actually will be a repeat customer, and he's referred me to someone else that I did business for too. And it's just been nuts how much demand there has been for finished carpenters here in Utah since I started. And I don't want it to sound like it's all been sunshine and roses. It's been really long hours doing this. A lot of early mornings, bidding out jobs, as well as just kind of, there's a bunch of different emails I have to write or estimates to do or materials to grab. So lots of early mornings, lots of late nights like tonight. Tonight's a late night, obviously. But it's been good. I've actually been a lot less stressed running my own business than I was being a superintendent. And I mean, people can disagree with me, like to each their own, but I found this to be a lot less stressful than running multiple homes and doing about 100 different phone calls a day, or even 50 phone calls a day, depending on the day, but this has been a lot less stressful. I've also had a few days where I just didn't have work. I didn't have a job lined up. And sometimes that's panned out for the better, where I was able to go and do some measures and, you know, find something to keep me busy, or other work has just kind of landed in my lap. In my life, I try to be very focused on God, so I've prayed a lot to win jobs, and I've felt and seen his hand in helping me win jobs when I wasn't planning on having a job for that day or a few days that week. But still at the same time, there's been days where I haven't actually had a job to go to. And what I've tried to do is just catch up on office stuff. I'm doing my own accounting, which is a joy, but it's a very in-depth spreadsheet that I'm still working on and tweaking to make sure I'm just keeping track of everything properly and the way that I need to be doing it. So it's been a good thing and a hard thing all at the same time. Something else that's been hard that I didn't think would be this hard, honestly, but it is just knowing that I am kind of the captain of my own destiny. Like, if I want to do something with my business, I can. I don't have a higher up that I have to go and run something by, and you know, they can just say, no, I don't like that idea, and it doesn't happen, right? It's all on me and my wife. We're a team, so we talk through different things together, but it's interesting that I didn't think that would be kind of a hard thing, but it's kind of felt a little paralyzing sometimes, where it's like, you know, what do I do next? What do I want to do next with my business? You know, it's just been kind of interesting to think through those different things and not have someone else give me a clear direction on what to do. I mean, I love finished carpentry. It's a lot of fun, but I want to be getting back into building homes here in the next couple of years. So that's something that we're trying to keep at our forefront, and on the back burner at the same time, is just how we're going to start building homes again. We're looking at building specs, so we're kind of always eyeing lots and, you know, just kind of thinking through those different things where there's no set timeline on when that will happen, and we're the ones who are in charge of when that will happen. So it's kind of hard because there's just a lot of unknowns in owning your own business. But at the same time, I find that really exciting. It's really cool just to be like, no, this is what I want to do, and this is what we're going to do, and to go for it. I'm creating my own company culture, which I really enjoy. I like cracking a lot of dad jokes and just having a good time, drinking a lot of Dr. Pepper. Way too much Dr. Pepper. I've actually cut back. I've actually honestly cut back on drinking Dr. Pepper since I started running my own business. I'm doing less driving. I'm not driving an hour and a half or 2 hours one way to work early in the morning and kind of later. So maybe I don't need it to stay awake as much as I once upon a time did. But I'm still drinking a lot. I don't want you guys to think I'm only drinking 1 can of Dr. Pepper a day, because that would be a lie. There's actually one sitting over on the table over there to get me through the night right now. And there we have it. Another saw set up. I'm really excited to be running this saw on the job. It's the twin of my current saw, so it's gonna be really nice. One thing I'm a little sad about is I did not upgrade to the DeWalt hydraulic stand. That's another $220, which I know it makes sense that I should buy it, but I already have this stand that I upgraded to the DeWalt one from. I'm just gonna start off with this. I'm trying to grow lean. I don't wanna just go spend money in all the places at all at the same times, because then all of a sudden there's no money left in my bank account to go buy things like diapers and Dr. Pepper, you know, the important things. So growing lean, I think, is something I'm trying to focus on doing with this business. But at the same time, I wanna grow smart. If I need a tool, if it's something slowing me down, I wanna buy that tool. A couple things I don't really care for about this stand is, I mean, one thing that's great about it is it is stable. It's a stable stand, which is fantastic. That's what it's supposed to be doing. It does not stand up on its own, which my trailer is small. So in the past, I would have to lay this down. I'm gonna have to try and come up with some sort of interesting strapping strategy to get this to stand up next to my table saw and my other miter saw. So that's kind of weird on it. Also, it just sucks to set this up by yourself. Now I've got me and 2 other guys on the job, so 3 of us. So it's not gonna be that bad to set this up. 2 guys can set up really easily. Another thing I don't really care for is actually, I'll show you, is this wheelbase right here. It's just really narrow. I've actually had this tip over a couple times when I was going on uneven ground and some gravel. The saw tipped over, which, I mean, it put some little dents and scuffs on the saw, which just hurts, right? And then you're worried about being in alignment and different things like that. So I just like to not drop saws. So this just isn't the best setup. The DeWalt one I love. Yeah, I love the DeWalt one. That's probably what this is gonna get replaced with eventually. But here I am, I don't know, getting closer to 1 o'clock in the morning. And it's what I have right now, so I'm just gonna roll with it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get more videos like this, where I talk about my business and finished carpentry. I also talk about tools and then just how-tos on do-it-yourself kind of stuff, as well as random build projects that I think are kind of fun. I actually have a cigar box ukulele video that's gonna be coming up here in the near future. The project has been started, I just haven't finished it yet. So different videos like that, it's a lot of fun. Make sure that you comment any questions that you have. Please comment any good stuff that you have on running your own business, things that have worked for you, things that haven't worked for you, as well as any weird random dad jokes that you have. I freaking love dad jokes. So make sure that you put those in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one.